Okay, so today we're going to be looking at graphs of rational functions, and our example tells us to graph y equals x plus 3 times x minus 4 over x minus 5 times x plus 3. So the first step to do this would be to check for holes. To do this, we're going to cancel in top and bottom. And then we're going to set the hole equal to 0. So to find the hole, we're going to cancel what both the numerator and the denominator have in common. In this case, the x plus 3. Then we're setting the hole equal to 0. So x plus 3 equal to 0. And you could subtract negative 3 from both sides. You're left with x equaling to negative 3. And then we're gonna plug in x for here. So we're gonna plug in negative 3 for x minus 4, negative 3 for x minus 5. And we're left with negative 7 over negative 8. And negative divided by the negative is a positive. We're going to get 7 over 8. And 7 over 8 will be our y-axis. And for our x-axis, we have negative 3. So this will be our coordinate for the holes. And our next step is to find zeros. To do this, we're going to use the numerator. So our numerator is x minus 4. And we're going to set that equal to 0. We could add 4 to both sides. So we have x equaling to 4. So our coordinates here would be 4 and 0. And for the zeros, the y-axis always stays at 0. And the next step is to find the vertical asymptotes. To do this, we're going to be using the denominator this time. So we're going to set the denominator equal to 0, and in this case we only have one denominator. So we have one vertical asymptote. We're going to add 5 to both sides. And x equals to 5. And after we found the x, we're going to find the limit. So to find the limit, in this case, we're gonna have to plug in a number that's greater than 5. So we'll plug in 5.1 to x. So we'll have 5.1 minus 4 over 5.1 minus 5. And both the numerator and denominator we get positive. So we have a limit of infinity, positive infinity. And for the next step, we're gonna find the horizontal asymptote. And to find the horizontal asymptote, we're looking at the roots. And for the numerator and the denominator, it has the same roots. So the asymptote for this case is 1. And our last step is to graph. To graph, we're gonna first off graph the horizontal asymptote, which is 1. Next, we're gonna graph the vertical asymptote, which is 5. Next, we're gonna graph the hole. The hole is at -3, 7, 8. That's about here. And then we're gonna graph the 0, which is 4, 0. And then we're gonna graph the parabola over here, because our limit came out to be positive infinity. So at the top, we're gonna have so we're gonna have a parabola at the top, and we'll graph over here. And that's our graph. And a common mistake that most people make is that they forget to graph the horizontal asymptote when the horizontal asymptote is at 0. So don't forget to draw in the horizontal asymptote even if the horizontal asymptote is at 0.